It is time to look ahead to those incoming projects that literally have one job. And if they manage to somehow not unleash the following elements, developments, or jaw-dropping moments on their audience, expect a deluge of disappointment to entirely drown any hope of said movie being celebrated for decades to come. Gareth here from WhatCulture.com, and here are 9 upcoming movies that will fail if they don't do this. Number 9, focus more on this corner of their universe, Kraven the Hunter. At a glance, the evidence seems to suggest that Sony's Spider-Man universe is going largely to plan at this current moment in time, with the first 2 so-so Venom flicks making a boatload of money, and even Morbius somehow managing to become an unexpected meme hit. However, the biggest criticism fired that last entry's way acts as a lesson that Sony would be wise not to ignore during the production of their next batch of Spider spin-off endeavors. In tacking on a limp set of end credit scenes depicting the MCU's Adrian Toomes, bizarrely teaming with the titular villain late on, Sony's need to connect their universe with the Marvel Studios section of the Supersphere ultimately felt entirely unearned and a bit desperate. Sure, Tom Hardy's showings as the iconic symbiote didn't change the game by any means, but it did at least feel as though both stories were dedicated more to effectively establishing Eddie Brock and his immediate surroundings/dilemmas than latching onto Kevin Feige's sprawling universe. And with Sony now pushing back Kraven the Hunter's release nearly 10 months to October 2023, here's hoping that time is spent further fleshing out Aaron Taylor Johnson's Animal Lover and not figuring out a way to squeeze him through a multiversal portal. Number 8, nail a fitting farewell for the OG crew, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. James Gunn's recent words on his 3rd volume of Guardians of the Galaxy goodness acting as the last time people will see this team of Guardians may come as a bit of a depressing surprise for some, but in setting the stage for what looks to be Star-Lord and the gang's final outing as a team, Gunn has teed up the possibility of perhaps the most emotional and impactful MCU showing since Endgame. And with fans also quickly jumping on the fact that the director confirmed a while back that at least one character will die, you have to imagine that if this last Guardians hurrah doesn't come equipped with a heartbreaking sacrifice or other form of powerful death for a Guardian at some point, many will find themselves morbidly underwhelmed by a film that feels like it's been in development for a lifetime. All in all, though, the bare minimum fans will be expecting out of a creator who has simply never missed with this ragtag bunch of misfits is for the OG unit to be given the sort of hilarious and moving farewell they almost definitely deserve. Number 7, don't shy away from the horror, Blade. While fans may have found themselves a touch split when it comes to certain elements of Sam Raimi's recent Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness adventure, most will happily agree that the director's insistence on lacing some pretty horrific beats into said madness made for a rather refreshing slice of MCU action. So Marvel should feel as confident as ever about allowing one of their next big newcomers to fully stretch his vampire hunting muscles within a genuinely unsettling environment. Because if they don't, there's a solid chance this particular sword-wielding badass may wind up getting lost in the shuffle and largely rejected by those who reveled in Wesley Snipes' bloody showings covered in leather as Blade. The fact Marvel Studios are also on the cusp of letting loose another set of seemingly terrifying properties in the classic horror film-inspired Werewolf by Night special, and an entire Marvel Zombies animated series in the not-too-distant future, is another positive sign that Kevin Feige is willing to head down scarier directions in the coming phases. So fingers crossed Mahershala Ali's Eric Brooks benefits from this frightening experiment too. Number 6, someone big can't make it out of this one alive, Fast 10. For a series centered mostly around high-speed races, chases, and heists, it's rather remarkable to note just how few of the feature characters have found themselves leaning into the latter part of the ride-or-die way of living. And it's because of the Fast series' refusal to commit to just about any of the central familia of drivers genuinely biting the dust that very few find themselves legitimately investing in the idea of a Toretto or other member of the ever-growing team actually being in any real danger during a Fast flick. But with Fast 10 acting as the first of a 2-part conclusion to this unexpectedly long-running franchise, now feels like as good a time as any to add some emotional weight to whatever tale Diesel and co. wish to tell for the gang's double whammy swan song. And with the 2023 film's cast list looking as ridiculously stacked as ever, it's not as though they're short on options should they finally decide to pull the deadly trigger. Number 5, completely ignore or poke fun at the last one, Indiana Jones 5. Jumping all the way back to the blissful time known as 2016, remember those days. Those hoping for the largely rejected events of Indiana Jones' last rather lackluster outing to be completely ignored in the crafting of Harrison Ford's next adventure as the whip-wielding legend were dealt a pretty painful blow by producer Frank Marshall, as he claimed that David Coep's screenplay would be a continuation of that 2008 tale. Yay! But then 2020 eventually saw both director Steven Spielberg and Coep step aside in favor of allowing James Mangold to take the reins of the much-loved property, with his own screenwriting duo of Jez and John Henry Butterworth. Rejoice! So with all that in mind, it thankfully feels as though this fifth and possibly final quest for the iconic character stands a chance of putting said interdimensional nonsense well and truly behind it once and for all, with Mangold hopefully having the awareness to either utterly ignore the wholly disappointing Kingdom of the Crystal Skull crusade, or at the very least take the time to cheekily poke fun at its decision to nuke the fridge and have Shia LaBeouf hang out with some CGI monkeys. Number 4, give us a multiple Batman moment, The Flash. The sight of multiple live-action Spider-Men sharing the screen and comparing super notes made for a genuine pinch-me moment during the MCU's Spider-Man No Way Home last year. And with the DCEU looking to follow in those similarly bonkers multiversal footsteps for its upcoming The Flash flick, anything less than another instance of numerous versions of iconic heroes sharing the cinematic stage at one point or another will no doubt leave DC movie fans even more disappointed than usual. It's already been revealed during the film's first sneak peek that Ezra Miller's Flash will be joined by another version of Barry Allen at one stage in the June 2023 epic. But there is no denying the fact that the real main event of this entire monster of a movie comes in the form of the returns of both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton's Batman. So not having said caped crusaders grumble at one another within a murky cave or whilst admiring each other's bat belts would definitely be the sort of missed opportunity that borders on unforgivable. Simply put, give fans their multiple bat beats or things could possibly get nuts. Number 3, make Kang and MODOK feel huge. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Perhaps the most jaw-dropping Marvel Studios occurrence to go down in Comic-Con's Hall H this year was none other than the first glimpse at Scott Lang and the gang's return to the superstage for next year's Quantumania. And with that re-emergence also comes with it the arrival of Jonathan Majors' mesmerizing Kang the Conqueror, last seen in his other variant form as Loki's He Who Remains. It goes without saying that sticking the landing of the MCU's supposed next dominant big bad here is about as vital to the success of the next few phases as it gets, with a stuttering showing for Major's Avenger-killing figure likely leaving the studio with an uphill battle in the lead-up to the also announced Avengers Kang Dynasty. If that wasn't pressure enough for Peyton Reed's third Ant flick, Quantumania will also see the entrance of much-loved Marvel villain MODOK to the MCU too. And if the already frustrated online reaction to a piece of fan art based on the Comic-Con footage reels version of the antagonist is anything to go by, Marvel could be in for a tough ride indeed should they fail to deliver on this 1-2 punch of villainous debuts. Number 2, make 3D a compelling concept again. Avatar 2. Completely revolutionizing the utilization of 3D when it comes to the big screen experience, James Cameron's Avatar provided movie fans with a fleshed-out fictional land that felt within actual reach over the course of a truly stunning 162 minutes of spectacle. But in the time since the director's first trip to Pandora back in 2009, it's safe to say that the bloomers left this particular cinematic rose behind, with many now not exactly being in a rush to immerse themselves in a 3D version of a new blockbuster offering. Yet judging from Jim Cameron's recent comments of the craze being anything but over in his eyes, you can all but guarantee the masterful director will have made it his mission to once again make 3D a tool capable of leaving folks with their minds utterly blown during his long-awaited Avatar return later this year with The Way of Water. Should this Avatar comeback fail to revitalize the 3D cinematic experience for the next generation in the same way 2009's first Pandora picture did, however, there's every chance this water-infused sequel may just sink under the weight of sheer expectation. Number 1, deliver a Namor worth waiting for: Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. While a great many are understandably focused on how Ryan Coogler will go about handling the legacy and succession of the titular superhero in question, it's also going to be intriguing to see how the director goes about delivering one of the most hotly anticipated characters the MCU has debuted to date in Wakanda Forever. After being teased and hinted at from as far back as Iron Man 2, the first glimpse at the Black Panther sequel at Comic-Con ultimately revealed that Tenoch Huerta will be acting as Namor, the long-awaited ruler of Talokan. Pretty much Marvel Studios' answer to Atlantis for their version of the character. But with fans angling to see the iconic Submariner face off with Marvel's finest for over a decade now, will Coogler be able to satisfy those hoping for a villain as complex and compelling as Black Panther's last arch-nemesis in Eric Killmonger? Trying to top or even match what Michael B. Jordan pulled off in that 2018 epic won't be a splash in the shallows by any means, but it could be the difference between Coogler's sequel sinking or swimming when all is said and done. And that's our list. Know of any other upcoming movies that will fail if they don't do this? Let us know all about them in the comments section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. Also, if you like this kind of thing, then head on over to whatculture.com and find some more incredible articles just like the one this video you're watching right now is based on. I have been Gareth from whatculture.com. Thank you as always for clicking on this lovely video today. Hopefully I'll see your fantastic faces very, very soon, but in the meantime, big up to yourself. Bye bye.